on this thing. I'm going to lose my mind.
Okay, welcome everyone. This is the session that's dedicated to the Smurfit advantage. I'm Peter Conlon, and well, you're probably well familiar with the various programs which the school offers, and so each of you will be applying for one of those. But in addition, everyone who attends the school is able to participate, if they wish, in our co-curricular program, which is called the Global Leadership Program. And so I will just end screen sharing here so you can see me. Fine, this is me. So I'm Peter Conlon, and I lead and manage the program. And the core of the program really is, it's a range of events and activities that students can participate in as much as they like. And in some cases also, they can get involved in organizing these events and activities. Now at the start here, I'd like to introduce a few people. Firstly, I've got two students as guests who I'll bring in a little bit later, who will give their current students. They'll share their own perspective as to what they've been seeing of it this year. But also I'd like to introduce Richard Murphy, my colleague Richard, if you want to bring his camera on. So Richard is from the admissions team. And so he's going to be watching the Q&A box. So we have a Q&A box. So if you have any questions, please pump them in there. And if I haven't answered them in the course of my explanation now, Richard can then bring me back and make sure you don't leave without your questions being answered. So yeah, so Richard will help me with that.
Thanks, Peter. And yeah, so I'll be in the background answering questions. So please give me some juicy questions to answer for you. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Richard. Right. And so, yeah, like I said, I'll bring in the two current students in the second part of this. I mean, this whole session will be approximately 25 minutes or so. And in that time, I'll give you a good flavor of it. Now, the co-curricular program is focused on professional development. The curricular program, that is the master's programs that students do here, are quite clear. They're quite prescribed by definition. They are working to a curriculum. And that is what you will come in order to get the qualification that you want, and that also that employers are seeking to recruit you to their companies. Now, the master's program will maybe get you invited to interview, but when you get to interview, they'll spend very little time, if any, in the interview talking about your master's program. What they'll instead be talking to you about is more things about you, what motivates you, examples of how you've demonstrated initiative, what work you've done to develop your professional skills, experience you have had of working in a team, and so on. And so all that sort of stuff, which is the bread and butter of interviews, the GLP program will help you develop that narrative so that you'll have more to say in interview and be able to impress interviewers as a result. The program, as I said, is open to all MSc and MAcc students who come. It's an opt-in option, and it's a no-cost option, so you won't pay a cent more to be involved in it. There's no commitment either, so if you do register for it, you're not on the hook for anything. You can register and do absolutely nothing or anything above nothing. And what you do by registering for this program, in effect, well, in practice, all you do is you go onto a mailing list, and then you get a series of announcements about the various activities and events that are coming up, and then you can choose and pick what you may like to get involved with, and you can register for individual events. And there's no assessment on this. In the whole of the GLP, the whole of the co-curricular program, there's no exams, no tests, no assignments. It's just for you to take the opportunity to develop yourselves. Let me just bring my slides up to give you a bit more of a flavor of it. So let me see here. There we go. Here we go. Yeah, so that's the logo of the GLP. And so it runs throughout the academic year that the students are with us. And like I said, there's no assessment, but if you do more in a certain baseline of activities, that is 3 or more activities on sort of three different types of activities, you can get a certificate, a Global Leadership Program certificate, which can then go on, you can refer to on your CV, and it'll go onto your academic transcript as well. And that also allows interviewers to see this certificate, then ask you what it's about, and then you can then give your narrative. Now, there's a whole range of events and activities you can get involved in, and I've got some pictures to give you a flavor of that. Oh yeah, just first of all, I would just point out that I am not a member of the academic team. I'm not a professor. I'm not an academic. And so I don't have a profile on the UCD webpage. If you want to look at my background, you'll find me on LinkedIn there. But the range of activities we have range from speaker events, where we get mainly alumni, some of them very senior, very successful alumni, coming in and giving guest talks. And we have a range of talks throughout the year. And here are 2 examples. One was focusing on personal branding, like how to market yourself. Another one was on also branding, but on building a brand. The Lauren McDonald one there was a lady who managed to get, in a very short time, 50,000 followers on TikTok for her jewelry business. So you get a lot of interesting people from a few years graduated, or more than a few years graduated, and they can come back in and then teach the current students some valuable lessons and also give inspirational discussions as well. So it's all very informative and for your professional development. We also have some big competitions. There's 2 big competitions. One is the advertising competition, which is the final of which is in part of our advertising night, which we have in February. And the picture there is of this year's winning team. They beat 9 teams were invited to make an advert for the school, and that team there, which name was United Nations, they won the award for this year. The other competition we have is the case competition, which was this year was sponsored by Deloitte. And the picture here shows the winning team from this year. There were actually 43 teams entered in the competition. It was a tough competition, so this team did very well to emerge victorious. And all these events and activities you can get involved in to the extent you would like to get involved. You can participate as part of a team, for example, or if you didn't want to be in a team, you can then just join the event in the audience, and that in itself is a great learning opportunity. In the background of a lot of these events, you do have various student committees and groups helping to organize the events. In the case of the case competition, we had 8 students forming the Case Competition Organization Committee, to give it its full title. One of whom on the left there is Kang, who you'll see speaking in a few minutes. And so everything about GLP is to give the chance for participants to get as much opportunity to develop their professional skills in whichever way they'd like to develop them. And so being involved in these teams and groups provides a wide range of opportunities. Other committees would include the Social Media Committee, the Creative and Entrepreneurial Careers Committee. There's also a Smurfit Finance group, which is on this slide. And that's our own simulated investment portfolio. They have $1 million, a virtual $1 million they invest in the stock market, and they're able to manage that portfolio, do stock pitching exercises, etc. So that's open to all the students who may wish to get involved. And obviously this image was taken before the last few weeks, before the markets went a bit volatile. And so there's I think there's a total of 6 or 7 different committees you can get involved with. Another area of activity would be our consulting projects, which we do in consultation with, or in collaboration with Proudly Made in Africa. And here's a picture from one of the Zoom calls we had for that. And that is where we have, there were 5 separate African businesses, and we have 5 separate teams of students, 7 students each, and they are assigned to work with that business for a number of weeks to explore their business, explore their challenges, and then in consultation with the academic team here to make recommendations as to how they can develop the enterprise. And those are very, very rewarding to get involved with. And so they've been running, in fact, they're still running at the moment actually for this year. And so that's another of the opportunities that we offer. We also offer a whole range of specialist workshops and professional skills sessions. Illustrated here is our time and task management essentials session. It's all about how to manage yourself, your time, how to manage deadlines, and prioritize work, etc., and to just be an effective professional. And that is one of the very most popular sessions, and that's led by one of our external consultants. And that would be one of several sessions that we put on. Again, all of them free to attend. Simply, I will put up an announcement, which will go out to everyone who's registered in GLP, everyone who's on the mailing list, and then you can then sign up for the sessions that interest you, and then you can attend and derive the value that's there. Another session we had recently was our leadership masterclass workshops. That's an all-day session, and that's focused on helping the participants to understand their leadership strengths and how those strengths will compare and contrast with the strengths of other people, and how you can then effectively work as part of a team to work more effectively as part of a team by understanding where you are strong, maybe where you're not quite so strong, and how other people are different to you. It's led by a psychologist, Dee Murphy there. And that is a hugely popular session. That's always very well received. And that's another of the sessions that's free to attend. The picture here shows the effective LinkedIn workshops, which there's a two-parter where we have a team of, again, external consultants come in and explain to you how LinkedIn works, how you can build your profile to the best extent possible, and then how you can then leverage that profile to do job searching and applications. And that's also another of the very useful sessions. This picture here on this slide is just a reminder for me to mention that you're not tied to doing just what UCD puts on for you. If you want to get involved in other activities, be it external volunteering or other external skills development opportunities that occur in the time you're at the school, those too can then count towards your GLP program record and can add to your narrative as well. So it just adds to the rich variety of things you can do. And last but no means least, on this slide, I would just highlight the mentoring, which comes under the GLP. And the mentoring is hugely popular and also hugely valuable. What we do is we match each student who gets a place in the mentoring program with an experienced alumnus of the school. And all of them are at least 5 years graduated from the school. Some are 20, 25, 35 years graduated from the school. Some of them are CEOs of some of Ireland's largest companies. And these alumni stay involved with the school because they find it satisfying and fulfilling to be engaged with the school and to help the up-and-coming student cohort. And so each student is matched with one mentor, and that mentor is completely dedicated to that one student, doesn't have more than one mentee. So that the alumni is the mentor, the student is the mentee. So it's one mentor, one mentee, and they have 5-month period from January up to May to have a series of engagements and meetings as best they can to help the student mentee to advance and develop their applications and develop their careers. And it's focused on the jobs, not the curricular program, not the studies. It's focused on their professional job hunting. And so, yeah, the feedback from that is that it is also hugely beneficial. Now, I think that's the end of the slides I wanted to share. I'll stop sharing now. What I'd like to do at this point is invite in one after the other, two of our current students. So they've both been quite involved in GLP activities, but in their own different ways. And so I'll first invite Kang. Priyanka. Okay, Priyanka, you go first. There you go. Ladies first is what I should have done. Okay. Also, Kang's there as well. Thank you both. What I'd like to ask you both, and maybe Priyanka, you can go first and Kang second. Basically, it's one question with two parts. Firstly, just could you describe, just in summary, how you've been involved with GLP activities? And then if you want to give any comment as to what you may have gained, what you've benefited from that involvement. So if, Kang, do you want to turn your camera off, and I'll turn my camera off, and Priyanka, the floor is yours. If you want to, just give us a flavor in a minute or two as to your experience.
Yes, Peter. Yeah, sure. So, firstly, hello everyone. My name is Priyanka, and I'm currently pursuing digital marketing. I have been actively involved in multiple aspects of global leadership program. Firstly, I have attended all the speaker sessions hosted by GLP. These have featured TEDx speakers, life and wellness coaches, and renowned authors. Each session gave me a valuable insight and practical techniques to grow not just as a professional but also as a more self-aware individual. Secondly, I am a part of the GLP social media committee. Through this role, I have been given an opportunity to manage the Instagram account for the program. It's not only built my social media skills but has also been a great addition to my resume, especially given my background in digital marketing. Lastly, I have participated in the GLP mentorship program, which connected me with the alumni and professionals currently working in digital marketing. This has been helpful in building meaningful connections and gaining industry relevant guidance. Um, Also, in case you're curious and want to see more of what the GLP offers, I'd recommend you checking out the Instagram page that's at the rate UCD Smurfit GLP for more information. And I wish you all good luck, and I hope you all benefit from the program just as I have. Thank you, Peter.
Thanks, Priyanka. And thanks for highlighting the Instagram page. Of course, that's open for everyone to see. And so, yeah, that's a good source to give you more of a flavor. I mean, the challenge I have with this presentation is just to try and give a flavor of a very, very varied program with a whole multitude of events happening. So it's a bit of a challenge for all of us. Priyanka, thank you very much. Kang, it's the same question to you. If you could give us a flavor of your experience of GLP and what you've gained from it, that would be very helpful.
Okay, can you see me now? Okay.
I can indeed.
Yeah, thank you, Peter. And hello, everyone. I'm Kang, and now I'm a student in Sustainable Supply Chain Management. So this year, I had the honor to be the organizing committee for the case competition. And our organizing committee, we have 8 people. So I think that in my role, I was involved in every aspect of the case competition, from planning, from logistics, and how to make the competition to be smooth. And I think that throughout the competition, we received many team for the competition, and I had the opportunity to learn to listen to many brilliant ideas. And yeah, and I think most importantly, that's the way that I can expand my network and have more friends, and I know how to cooperate with other people. So thank you.
Excellent. Thanks, Kang. No, I think you've obviously touched on a very important point about GLP, and that is the fact that for the most part in your student experience, you're with your curricular program, whichever program you're doing. In your case, Kang was Sustainable Supply Chain Management, Priyanka Digital Marketing, but we've got 27 different specialist master's programs. And so a lot of your time will be spent just with that student cohort in that silo. And what GLP gives you the opportunity to do is to get outside of that silo and engage with the wider student cohort. And so nothing on GLP is broken down by program. It's just events open to the entire student community. And so a lot of people have made friends and friendships outside of their own curricular program through GLP. So there's that whole social aspect, which is very important too, another of the key benefits. So Kang, thanks for pointing that one out. And obviously, Priyanka and Kang have done their best to represent India and Vietnam very well. And so it should be commended for that too. Excellent. I think that's, what else can I say? Oh, just one more thing before I just open to Q&A. Maybe Richard can help me with that. And that is, hopefully this session has given you a flavor, and by the end of it, you'll have a lot of your key questions answered. Now, what will happen is registration for GLP will not be opened until late August, until shortly before the academic year begins. And at that point, before that, there will be an information webinar. There'll also be a launch webinar as well, which will give more of the details about how the program is structured. So don't worry too much about the details and the nitty-gritties how the program works. The whole point of this is just to give you a high-level flavor, sort of a trailer as it is. So hopefully this is serving that purpose. Richard, hopefully I've not confused everyone with what I've been saying for the last while, but are there questions which have come into the chat which would be useful to discuss?
Peter, you've been so informative that there are no questions in the chat box at the moment, but I'm maybe actually one that, as someone who works in admissions and has to get a lot of questions all the time, all throughout the year, but people are very interested in GLP. I know you just touched on it there, but perhaps you could expand a little bit about how people will actually apply for this. So if you're a current offer holder or perhaps future offer holder, I know you mentioned there'll be information sessions, but maybe just expand a little bit more about how people will actually get a place.
Yeah, some people ask about eligibility. Do you have to apply? Is it an assessment process? No, you don't have to apply. There's no assessment. All you'll simply do is, if you get a place here and you're coming here, then if you wish to, you can just register. You just sign up. So there's no assessment. If you want to be in, you're in, as long as you have a place in the school. And as also already mentioned, there's no extra cost to it. Obviously, there's a cost associated with coming to the school, but this is all included in the suite of services that we provide. And so when invited to do so in late August, up until mid-September, there'll be a registration form, which you'll give the link for, and then you simply just put your name and your student number and your email address in, and then you'll be registered. It's that simple. So there's no great palaver in getting registered.
That's great. And maybe another question that we also get in admissions is how, and perhaps this could be directed towards one of the students who are currently doing it, but it is designed to be co-curricular, as you mentioned. But obviously a lot of the programs that we do, the 1 year, they're quite intensive as they are. Some are more intensive than others. How is that balance of workload done? Maybe Peter, you could touch on that yourself, and then maybe we could ask the students directly themselves how their own personal experience is.
Okay, I'll give my bit, and if Priyanka or Kang want to add to, they're welcome to. Obviously, the rule is the curricular comes first. So your master's program comes first. So you shouldn't be missing a class. You shouldn't be not completing an assignment in order to do a GLP co-curricular activity. But you should still have scope outside of the time you dedicate to your master's to get involved in the elements of GLP that most interest you. I mean, no one can do everything. Really, you can't. It's too much to do. So what you do is you pick and choose the things that are of most interest to you, most value to you, and you focus on those. And you should have time around your workload, your curricular workload, to fit those in. And all the events are purposely scheduled away from class times as much as possible, so that you shouldn't be missing a class to attend a GLP event. I don't know if Priyanka or Kang want to add. If you want to add something, put your camera on, either of you. If your camera, oh, here we go. Priyanka, do you want to add anything on that?
Yes. So about the balancing part, I think last year during the start of the semester, we learned about time management and how to balance multiple things
Yeah.
at once. So that's something you learn along the way. And also GLP speaker events teach you that. Firstly, secondly, a lot of GLP sessions, they are conducted in groups. So let's say you've missed the first session, you can register for the second one, checking your availability whether you will be able to attend or not. So I feel like personally for me, GLP has not been like it's not been very difficult for me to manage, and I have attended all the sessions of GLP. I have managed the social media of the GLP, and I have also managed my academics. So that shouldn't be a problem, is what I feel. Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Okay, is that enough of an answer for you, Richard?
Well, absolutely. For me, if anyone watching has any more questions, just put them into the chat box. We've probably got a few more minutes left on this to run, so get your questions in before we finish up. Maybe I can ask a question directly, if to one of the students there, Tuan or Priyanka as well. Just maybe one of you might want to take this. What's been their biggest takeaway or the most exciting part of the GLP so far? And Peter, you're not allowed to feed them a line here, okay? They want to hear genuine answers.
Away from the keyboard.
Tuan, would you maybe want to give us your feedback?
Can you see me?
Yep.
Okay, yeah. So I think that the biggest thing that I take from the GLP is a connection with other students from other like other programs, because now from the competition, I have many new friends, many new connection, and then we can become friends, and then we can share many things valuable together. So
that's great.
Yeah, no, I think I've heard many people echo that same sentiment. That's one of the positives is the whole social aspect, as long away above and beyond the whole original baseline of professional development. I think what else could I add that'd be useful here? I think I can't stress enough that people often, when they see a program and something to sign up for, they're always worried about, like, what's the catch? If I sign up for it, could I fail it? Or if I don't do enough, will I then end up with a negative score? Will that somehow affect my record? And no, it won't. The only way you'll have a record of doing GLP is if you actually do enough and get a GLP certificate, in which case it'll be noted on the system that you have the GLP certificate. But if you sign up and then decide for whatever reason, you don't want to do anything or very much, that's fine. There'll be no negative mark, no record of things not being done anywhere. So it's really It's intentionally designed to be free like that, so you don't feel any pressure. You only do what you feel you'd like to do and able to do.
Peter, maybe I could ask maybe one last question then before we might finish this up then. This is just in relation to the careers aspect, right? So, I mean, informally, us in admissions, we hear a lot of great things from the GLP. So employers love this, as you mentioned early, Twine, there, that you get this extra connections. It's the networking, it's the with other nationalities. When you go to work for a big multinational company, employers and recruiters love this. But Peter, from your own words, like, how do you think this affects careers? So obviously Smurfit's, you're coming to Smurfit, it's going to be an excellent opportunity, but having the GLP, what extra do you think this might add to your CV and to your LinkedIn profile and ultimately for your own personal development?
Yeah, I think a lot of people are very keen on getting certificates, like collecting badges, and that's not really actually of much value. It's what's behind the badge, what's behind the certificate, the narrative, as we call it, that goes with the certificate. A certificate should not be the end of a conversation. It's the beginning of a conversation. You've got the certificate. What for? Oh, for this, I did this. And so relating what you did, you can then impress the interviewer or work colleague or whomever you're talking to. Now, I have heard many anecdotes of this GLP participation being directly helpful in terms of securing jobs. But sometimes finding out where to apply for jobs, like who's hiring, etc. So that whole networking effect. But once you've identified a target to shoot for, then being invited to interview and then getting to that interview and being able to say, I was involved with this, I was involved with that, I developed my skills in this way. And several people have said it because I could relate to just what I did in GLP. The interviewer spent 20 minutes of the interview just talking about that, and you could clearly see that's what was resonating, and I think that's what helped me to secure that job. And so it's the richness of the story you bring to an interview that determines how well you do, and the GLP simply helps you enrich that story. That's how I would sum it up.
That's great. That's a great answer. Listen, I don't think anyone has any other questions. So I think that's all from us in the Q&A, and maybe time to finish this up.
Yeah, no, I think we can wrap up. I would just thank everyone for joining. And for those of you coming to us in September, just obviously there'll be onboarding communications, so watch those, and then all the other information will come through and follow with those. So I hope this has been informative. Thanks for your interest, and have a good evening there. Thank you.